Hello everyone. What we are going to be doing, we are continuing with the shifting or understanding of the shifting graphs vertically. So let's jump right in. In the previous video, I did the sine graph. Now we are going to have a look at the cosine or cos graph. Okay, it's really simple. This video won't be that long. So let's get straight into it. My computer's lagging because there's so much work on it. Right, let's have a look. So when we understand and study our simple graph of the cos graph, without, remember, there's no plus of Q or C or whatever other letter they want to use. So in this case over here, the cos graph is as standard as it can be, okay? So the normal shape of a cos graph, if nothing has affected it, is it starts at 1, goes down like that, and it goes up. It basically forms the shape from negative 360 to 360. Now what's happening is that we have a new graph that in the previous video I said if they have a negative number, it would shift the graph down however many like if it's -3, it would shift it down 3 units, and if it's plus maybe 5, it's shifting the graph up 5 units. So what's going to end up happening is that each point from the original graph, this one over here, is actually going to be shifted down by 1 unit. Good. So if it was 1 over here, it will be shifted down. So it's not 1 anymore, it will be 0. If it was 0, it will be -1. If it was -1, it will be -2. So that is how our new graph has formed this shape in red. Okay, I hope that is helpful and it's getting clearer. Okay, let's go and answer our questions that they love to ask over here, okay, with domain, range, period, and amplitude. If you click straight onto this video, there is a video in the playlist where I explain in great detail of how to understand how to answer these questions: domain, range, period, and amplitude. So let's go ahead and answer them for the cos and the shifted graph. So for the original one, the domain, it's asking where are the values of x existing. So it's from and including -360 all the way through to +360. You can see it goes like that. So it actually exists all the way across. So that's how you write it. You write a square bracket, -360, semicolon 360, close bracket with a square bracket. Then, guys, it's going to be the exact same for this graph, because you can see that, again, it does exist from -360 all the way to 360. Okay, let's go to range. So there will be a difference in the answer here. So the original graph, remember, range is where do the y values exist. So the minimum y value for the cos graph is going to be -1 because it exists there. There's a -1 over here, if you see there, right? And there's a -1 over here. And then the maximum is 1 over here, and over here. So you'll see that the range, the y values exist from -1 all the way through to and including +1. But now what happens when the graph has shifted down? It won't touch +1 anymore. Can you see that? So it's actually the range will change. So what's going to happen is your minimum value has the y minimum value for the red graph has shifted down, and now it exists at -2. So this red graph now exists from -2 all the way, and then the maximum value becomes 0. Okay, I hope you can see that. So it's from and including -2 all the way to 0. And then remember, in grade 10, the period for cosine or cos graph is 360, as well as for sine graph. And then for amplitude, remember I taught you a little shortcut that the amplitude for a sine and cosine graph can be whatever this number is over here. So there's an imaginary 1 over there. So that can just be your answer. The amplitude is 1. The other way I taught you is using this little formula over here. I'll zoom in a bit. So what we're going to do is the maximum y value. So the maximum was 1 for the black graph, and then the minimum was -1. So 1 minus -1, that would become 2 over 2 and gives you 1. And then for the red graph, Again, you can just simply take the 1 from there. If you want to do it this way, you can say the maximum. So the maximum was 0 minus the minimum, which was minus 2. So this minus minus becomes a positive, and it will become 2 over 2, which is 1. Okay, I hope that's helpful, guys. That is the end of this video, and then we'll have a look at the beautiful tan graph.